Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing playing another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. Man, I lost my tripod yesterday, so I'm in here looking. It broke. I didn't lose it. But just checking in on some I see the Redskins schedule is out there. I'm starting to see different projections, predictions for win totals and whatnot. And I tell you, man, it's tough. I mean, it's a tough ask. We play the NFC West, um, and we just got a ton of uncertainty with this team. Um, it's just too many question marks everywhere. No left tackle being one. We don't know what's going on with quarterback. I'm tired of the infighting, among the fan base with what Haskins is and isn't, and then the belief that Alex Smith. I haven't seen Project 11. I've been trying to see if I can watch it on YouTube, but I don't think it's on there. Uh, Maybe I have to check it to see if it's on ESPN Plus. And I just haven't been able to catch a replay of it on ESPN, even though right now during the pandemic, um, we're seeing all the recycled programming, but I haven't been able to catch it. But 17 surgeries. I saw a video yesterday where he was high stepping around cones, dropping back, throwing the ball, running, and whatnot. And he has the thick, I don't know if it's a compression sock or it's like he had a brace around his lower leg. I just cannot fathom that the guys would be willing to risk it to return to a football field. I just can't see it. And then I saw another report the other day where something where they were near a point where some insurance could possibly kick in and give the team a little relief with his contract. So I don't know what's going on with that. They were 6-3 when Alex Smith lost the field. He's a good man. I like the guy. He's had some unfortunate situations in his career and whatnot. But again, I just don't see how it just seems, in terms of boxing, it seems like, at some point a promoter or a trainer wouldn't feel good about putting a fighter out there. And it just seems like here he wasn't drafted by the Redskins and wasn't drafted under Rivera. But it just seems like you wouldn't want to be the one to send him out there. Like you can go do it somewhere else and it'd be your decision. But I don't want to be the one that approved of it and you went out there and had your life severely impacted. So a lot of uncertainty there. Uncertainty. The only area that I think is great or is not a question mark is the defensive line. But even the defensive line is only really filled with promise and depth. You have all this depth up there. You have all these former first round, these number one picks. And then you have the promise of what the Predator may or may not be in Mr. Chase Young. And then we see what year 2 of Montez Sweat is. So that's kind of what we had to hang our hat on. The wide receiving group, you got to worry about this Golden Gandy cat. Is he a project? What is Cody Latimer, who's from nearby in Trotwood, Ohio? I'm in Dayton. He's never been a high volume guy. He's like expected to provide a leadership presence or a veteran presence. I need production. And then the running backs, can anybody play more than 3 or 4 games in a row? Can these guys not be out there on pitch counts? Can these guys get up from a tackle and they not be limping? And then you got a slew of guys in there. McKissick, Bryce Love, Geis, Peterson, Barber, who might be the quote-unquote bell cow maybe. But he led a team in rushing. But, I had never really heard of the guy prior to them signing him. So Who emerges out of that? I mean, ideally, we would love for Geist to be the guy that we saw with the a guy who has two or three of the longest runs in LSU history. We would love to see him be that, but he's already had three knee injuries in 2 years. So a lot of uncertainty there. The tight end room, a bunch of names. And then Thaddeus Moss, who is a kind of a hybrid tight end H-back. Like I mentioned with the tackle that they took from LSU in the fourth round and whatnot. All we really have to go on, because Thaddeus had a foot injury that was revealed during the combine and whatnot. So he didn't run. He's supposed to be an above average blocker, decent hands. We saw him make some plays in the national championship game. He's a guy that contributed to one of the best offense that we've seen in college football. So it's like with the other cat, the left tackle, who has all kind of question marks about what he is. All we really have to go on those guys is that they were in a great team culture, and they could, they were pushed and excelled every day in that environment. And can they come in here and continue that as professionals? The defensive backs. I'm not a big fan of that group. I know Fuller is back. I think that's a pretty good thing. Collins, I guess, made the Pro Bowl, but Collins has never jumped off the. He's never jumped off the screen for me. And to be a guy who his team that drafted him really didn't put up a big fight to keep him, it really doesn't have me all that big on him either. Quarterback, I already mentioned that. Offensive line, I mean, they got Sheriff on the franchise tag, but Flowers is gone to Miami. Peters isn't likely to come over from Philadelphia. There's not many great options out there at left tackle, and without a great offensive line, it's hard to run the ball and protect the quarterback. So, 3 to 6 wins is going to be tough. But looking at the schedule really quickly, I'm only going to look at really half of it. They opened with the Eagles at home. They played the Eagles tough last year in the first two. I think it was that game 2 in Philly. Had the Philly fans booing, and were up. But that was a veteran quarterback in Keenum that was doing that. And again, the defense wasn't the defense. Rex Ryan predicted that group was the number 3 defense in the league. That started disintegrating very quickly once the season actually started. So I'm not. I don't know. Carson Wentz he's not what they try to sell me, in my opinion. They got questions. It's a division game. I probably would give the Eagles the edge, even though the Redskins are at home. Another issue that's here is that there's not going to be any organized the OTAs, organized team activities, because of the coronavirus situation. So, all of these question marks that we have with these incoming, young guys, they're not even getting that early to kick the tires on them, and see what you're kind of working with. That's going to hurt in their development when you have guys like Golden Gandy and Antonio Gibson and whatnot. Can we be 3-9? I mean, can we get 3 wins in these first 8 games? Second week is the Cardinals out in AZ. The Cardinals, won 5 or 6 games last year, picked up a big dude, a big free agent, or a big acquisition in the trade that they got with DeAndre Hopkins coming over. And people are excited about Murray. But that's a team that won 2 more games than the Redskins. Gotta give it your best shot, to get that if possible. The next week, the Browns won 6 games last year. That's in Cleveland. At least Cleveland doesn't have the the question marks that we have. Although they do, new start with the head coach, Baker and a new offensive scheme and whatnot, so on and so forth. But they have a lot of promising Nick Chubb, the running back, a slew of wide receivers. It's not as many questions in my opinion. Week 4, the Ravens, at FedEx, big trust. You can wrap that one up probably. They went 14-2 last year. The Rams the week after, you would think maybe it's a lot of turmoil or turnover there in recent years. And that's at FedEx as well. Maybe that's a game that you can get. Nobody's really a big fan of Jared Goff. McVay having history with the Redskins and whatnot. Got to try to get that one. And then I think 2, 4, 6, 8. I think in within 3 weeks you play the Giants twice. Are the Giants? They won one more game than us last year. Can you split these games? Can you get both of them? And the Redskins had the worst. They were the lowest offensive scoring team in the NFC, probably one of the lowest in the entire league. They don't have that many less question marks than the Redskins, in all honesty. I would imagine, a split between those games is possible. And then throw in the Dallas Cowboys there in Game 7. That is at FedEx as well. One thing about the Cowboys is they're so up and down throughout the year that you can't say that it's a definite loss. But that's not a game where I would favor the Redskins either. So you're looking at, the targeting wins against the Cardinals, Browns, and the Rams, and then 2 games with New York. So that's 5 games right there. Can you win 3 of those? But other than that, man, getting into the second half of the season, Seattle, the Niners, the Bengals had the number 1 pick in Burrow and are starting over. The Lions, those are games that, to expect to do well in. But then to go to Dallas, to Pittsburgh on consecutive weeks, no Monday night, no prime. I don't think any primetime games, but no Monday night game this year for the Redskins. The Panthers at the end of the season, that's a game that you could probably target them restarting at head coach and quarterback and kind of rebuilding, and then closing out with the Eagles, who could possibly be competing for the division title. So again, man, with all the question marks that we have, I'm really settling on what is the impact of a new coach? What is the impact of a head coach? And I mentioned this before. It's not like Ron. I like Ron, but when you sift through all of the excitement of a new leader, and the fact he had a 15-1 team, a Super Bowl run, he's only like a dozen games better than 500. It's not like he's this juggernaut of a coach, but there are a lot of positives with him. I like that he comes from the NFC South, which he's had to compete with high scoring offenses. He has fielded pretty good defensive teams. I like the physicality that I've seen and the reliance on a run game, although a lot of that was factoring in his quarterback's contribution to the running, and even maintaining a physical run game with your supersized quarterback that he had in Cam Newton. So it'll be interesting to see what the Scott Turner cat does with the offensive side of the ball. Del Rio as D coordinator and whatnot. Linebacker room, there are a lot of pieces there. Thomas Davis Sr. is a little older to me. He's had both of the knees worked on. We need, Reuben Foster is a guy just like Bryce Love. What's going on with the rehab? So just question marks everywhere. Don't have me the most optimistic, but can you get the games that you just on paper you have a shot at getting will be key. And which one of these prospects can really become contributors and produce. I'm seeing people getting optimistic or being eager or real optimistic about Gibson. I'm just not there, to be honest. Not of that. I'm rooting for the guy, but just to say, here's a guy that's gonna catch 50 balls, six to eight touchdowns, so on and so forth. I don't know if I see that. And then lastly, like I said, if the rest of the defense, the back end can rise to the occasion, offer some success up front, maybe this defensive unit can finally, be a middle of the pack defense. Maybe, at the bottom part of the upper third of the league. Just do that for us. But there has to be some faces of the team at some point where there's some team leaders that I just think have been missing the last couple of years. Another people where I see a lot of infighting is Kerrigan. I mean, how can you trash this guy? No, he's not. He's not elite, but he's a hard worker. He's durable as hell. He's been a leader. He's gotten sacks. He's been held and double teamed and whatnot. But he has produced. But we even got people arguing about him. So I just think all of this is just these are symptoms of a struggling franchise, and it would be good to just see him do. Can you get 5 wins? Can you get 6 wins? Maybe there's some great team chemistry that occurs. How many plus wins is just having this new coaching staff? Revere. Is he a game and a half? Does he bring us a game and a half in these, the Bengals and Browns games, again, those types of teams? Does he shift in the Panthers? Does he shift, our does he enhance the likelihood of us winning those types of games? Is he a plus in that area? But to go in and say, we're just not a team that's going to be favored in many of these games week to week. Injuries could happen. It's going to be tough to get to set. I see some people 7 and 9 wins. Very tough, in my opinion, to get there. Very tough without some of these question marks ending up being, solid factors of the team. That's it, man. My name is Wood. I'm just getting on here talking about the Redskins. We'll see what happens. That's it, man. Let me get on out of here. The Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment Channel, man. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.